This video is brought to you by Against the Flow of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is a book about Jake Fayard, a Marine veteran who is unhappy with the political machine running the state of Mississippi. He decides to fight the corruption from the inside. Jake will face more challenges than he ever has and will stand up for what he thinks is right. His notoriously hot temper will push him to the edge of murder, along with his friend and brother Kobe Barhanovich. Together, they will fight the system and give the power back to the citizens of Mississippi. Against the Flow of Mississippi is now available on Amazon. A link to the book will be placed in the description below. Welcome to History in the Eyes of a Southerner with your host, Anthony Allen. On this channel, we will take a journey through time and relate history to the contemporary eyes of modern America. I hope you enjoy the ride as I investigate and document the wonderful events that have shaped our present world. All right, y'all. History in the Eyes of a Southerner. Your host, Anthony Allen, with some actual living history. I went to a reenactment this weekend. Accidental. Me and my girlfriend and her daughter found ourselves in Lake City, Florida. And, while in Lake City, I mentioned something about being close to Olustee. Well, I would say 2-3 months ago we had discussed going to the reenactment there, but we couldn't remember exactly when it was. Well, turns out it was this weekend. So yesterday, which was Sunday, we showed up, I'd say about 1:30, 2 o'clock. And found parking, took a bus back in there, and right as soon as we got there is when the battle reenactment just started. And I have some video of that I'm going to be sharing with y'all. It's not very good. Unfortunately, I came ill-prepared to the party. I was using my cell phone to record, so apologize for the shaky picture, but it was on the fly. But you know what? Most of my stuff on YouTube is on the fly, and I promise I'll work on that. Anyway, what was the Battle of Olustee? The Battle of Olustee was fought in Baker County, Florida on February 20th, 1864. It was during the War of Northern Aggression, and it was the largest battle in Florida that was fought during the war. Now, Florida was pretty significant, as there wasn't really a whole lot of battles fought in Florida. I can think of Natural Bridge. There was one down in Polk County. There was a skirmish in Jacksonville. Pensacola pretty much gave up to the Union. There was one down around St. Cloud in Osceola County. But what Florida did for the war effort was because it had so much, Florida was largely unpopulated. I mean, today it's the third most populous state in the Union. People don't realize that. Today we have like 18 million people in the state of Florida. In the 1860s, it was more like 140,000. There's more than 140,000 people just right here in Clay County, Florida. And this is not even Jacksonville. This is the county over from Jacksonville. So, just to put that into perspective, you have cities like Jacksonville, which is almost 1 million people in it. Miami, which, the Miami-Dade County probably has about 3, maybe 4 million people in it. Orlando's probably got close to 1 million people in it. I mean, but you look at the entire state back then, which its borders were what its current borders are today, which is a fairly large state, and there was only 140,000 people, and probably close to half would actually be either people that are enslaved or Seminole Indians or other Native American tribes here in Florida. So, wasn't really a whole lot. They did have the naval blockade around the state of Florida, and that was to stop Florida from becoming a pipeline to get in arms and stuff from England and France. But Florida had a lot of pasture. A lot of what was Spanish cattle was running wild all throughout the state. Plantations were largely untouched here in Florida outside of a few areas simply because there wasn't a whole lot to fight over down here. Even though Florida was the third state to secede. First was South Carolina, second was my home state of Mississippi, third was Florida. So, the Battle of Olustee actually took place in 1864, toward the end of the war. Arguably, after the war was pretty much already lost. And I say that solemnly, but truthfully. There we go. Now that I have my Farb kepi on, I feel better talking about the South. And yes, this thing is very Farb. But I like it. Anyway, like I said, it was a Confederate victory, the Battle of Olustee. But it was large in that it saved, in my opinion, probably saved the state of Florida. But on the big scale, it wasn't that significant. I mean, the strength was 5,500 Union to 5,000 Confederates. Not the thousands and thousands and thousands that fought at, say, Gettysburg or Vicksburg or Bull Run or any of the other well-known battles. There was a lot of, it was a big to-do here in Florida, but again, on the grand scheme of the war, it wasn't that big. Most of the fighting, of course, being in Virginia, because by 1864, the western states, Mississippi, western Tennessee, Louisiana, Arkansas, they were mainly lost. Not really counting Missouri, and Texas was, I mean, it was still kind of there, kind of not. But Texas, in my opinion, was more not really aligned with either side. I mean, yes, it was aligned with with the South, But I would argue that most of Texas was, I mean, kind of like Florida was. I mean, wide open. Not a whole lot of people lived there. You know, Texas and Florida were granted statehood in the same year. So, about the same was going on. Although Texas had more battles. But this was such a big event locally that I believe, again, that it did save the state of Florida, minus Pensacola. Anyway, I'm going to play some scenes from the battle. I have a lady that I did an interview with, and she's going to talk a little bit about it. I have not audio checked these. I hope it's good. I really do. I know the cannon and all that you're going to hear. I'm hoping that when I speak with this lady that you'll be able to hear the interview. Anyway, y'all enjoy. And hey, if you want more information on reenactments in your area, Google them. They're fun to go to. They're fun for the whole family. You know, kids love seeing the cannons and seeing the guns, and you know, it's a good learning experience for everybody involved. All right, y'all enjoy. Battle of Olustee Field. All right, thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Scouting party figuring out where the enemy was.
Well, they see them. They don't.
See, those are just rifles and pistols until they go off.
How long has it been?
Sorry about that. Can't believe, look at my horse. Handle him, look at my horse.
Excuse me, yo. forgot they used rockets. That was outdated. They used it. Got a whole regiment over there forming up. That looks like just forward skirmishes.
You have a pocket in front of your shirt. You're not putting that in my pants for drinks.
Uh-oh, here we go. Thank you.
He shakes a little bit. And I'm like, it's okay. See
Wadding, really, probably not even wadding because they don't really want to project.
Well, some of them I do see white stuff coming out of them.
Probably just wadding. Some cavalry.
Let's see if I can't get a little bit closer.
You want to get closer, baby? Come on, let's see if we can get a little closer. Come on.
She's smoking.
I know she is. Come on.
She ain't gonna want to get closer.
All right.
Wood knife. Is that a dragon on the front of your shield? Cool.
Looks like a Greek phalanx. Woo!
That was the cannon. He might not like that one. You're leaving one.
Here's it. Come on, hey, come on.
That's why we said to bring your headphones. In just a minute.
You can feel the you can feel the percussion though.
Would you please quit picking at me?
Now they're formed up. Oh no!
I'm out.
There you go. Shoot them blue bellies.
I like those shirts.
They still got the blue coats all formed up over there.
Ones over here, huh? Kitty softballs. Kitty softballs. Those are softballs. Is that what Amanda let you name it? Or this is what you call it? Oh, you have demon and vicious now?
I really came ill prepared for this. Should have got my camera.
I know.
And this is the whole reason I bought the damn camera.
Alright, now the cannons are going to start shooting again.
Hey, make sure you got the earphones on good because it's going to get loud, baby. We're a little closer than we are over there. There we go. Yeah, buddy.
No, they're still loading it. The big one right there.
I love this stuff.
I know.
That's why I said when we were at Walmart, you should have got some earplugs.
Oh no, I'm fine.
So what was louder, that or my 9mm? It's only because you were closer to it.
True, very true.
Woo!
That was
Yeah,
good.
buddy. Woo! That smoke ring.
Look at the ring.
Up, they're reloading.
They put their hands over there. I know they're shooting.
Yep. Here we go. Here we go.
Hey, look up, look up. A piece of tree, I think. What was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just wadding.
Piece of the ground. That gold one right here from Anthony.
That's the one I'm trying to wait till they fire it. I want to get that one. Stand in front of me, baby.
That's the one right here.
One.
Oh, no, she's...
We're here a little bit.
That's one that's really, really loud.
Woo!
That's the gold one. They have to reload. You're good for a minute.
Over here.
What looks like a pine cone? Yeah. Pine cone.
been when the other regiments come up from the Panhandle and finally joined them. I remember the history right anyway. Alicia. Thank you.
Close. Shoulders. Okay, look out there. See? You see out there? Hey, play the jump. Get on the jump board now. Play jump.
Don't you have a historical channel?
No.
Look like one of.
Been doing this for a long time.
Look like somebody I've seen online with a history channel.
Wouldn't surprise me, but I mean,
Okay.
I probably should have. Well, that's what I'm gonna do. I can do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. History in the eyes of a Southerner.
What?
History in the eyes of a Southerner is mine.
Tell me when to record, Robin. Slow motion. You tried that?
No, I haven't. But I think that'd be cool. Look, here we go. We're getting ready. Absolutely. Yep. Going back up north.
Stay up there.
Right.
And they're still working on it, brother. Yeah. Killing the last few of them.
Well, I mean, Olustee was a victory for us.
Was the what?
Olustee was a victory for us.
Both sides running out of ammunition and darkness approaching, fighting stopped. The day of the battle, Union forces marched 20 miles, about a 5-hour battle, then marched 20 miles, arriving at the camp.
This in away from our legs when you think about it. But we were covered tip to toe.
Yeah.
And down to our wrist, and that was the social mores of the time, unless you were a young lady, like that young lady over there is under 18, so she can get away with showing off her shoulders and her arms.
Okay.
Once you got married, you were a matron, and everything was covered because only your intimate partner saw those parts. So everything you see, well, with a couple of exceptions, because we are packing up, the majority of the stuff you see out here would have been available in their home. We are sharing a space. You have to imagine this is a cabin. The civilians did not move with the Army. They did not travel with the Army, and camping was not a thing.
Yeah.
Because we were still frontiering and pioneering. So it wasn't a thing because for some people it was a way of life.
Yeah.
Down here was still frontier country, and it was very rustic. If you've ever read the Little House books, how they went from a sod house to a little cabin to that, exactly the way it was here.
this Florida was about the least populated state in the Union back then.
Because they had just gotten Florida from Spain about 30 years prior, and the Spanish offered all of their citizens the option to move on boats to Cuba because we were not a Catholic nation. And because there were a lot of slaves that had come down and there was the original Underground Railroad, one of the biggest locations was Florida for 2 reasons. The Spanish said, okay, if you serve a term in our military and convert to Catholicism, we have no problem. We outlawed slavery decades ago. And the Seminole Indians took them in. That's where you get the Black Seminoles, and that was a big part of the Seminole War. Andrew Jackson wanted them all turned back over. And the Seminoles said no, and then they went further into the Everglades.
Yeah.
So then when the war came and they blockaded the peninsula, out from the swamps came all these freedmen, and they guided the Union troops in through the rivers. Florida put troops in on both sides, which meant our Florida women had double the work. Not only did they have to participate and do whatever their men were doing that weren't there, both armies heavily relied on the civilian population for food. If they came through an area, they took all the food, but each soldier was only issued 1 uniform. And in the South, they weren't even issued that. Their family, or if they were part of the local militia, they might have a uniform, but otherwise their family was expected. So you'll see a large variety of Southern uniforms, but a pretty standard Northern uniform because they had the Army. The women were expected to provide anything else they wanted. If they wanted cold weather gear, if they wanted a change of shirt, if they wanted a change of socks. Women were asked to provide all that. For the hospitals, they had no infrastructure, nothing. This was the first war that they actually had hundreds of thousands of casualties that they needed to take care of. So the first time they realized it was when all the Union troops gathered to protect D.C., and they had all come in from all over the country, little towns, and they all shared measles, mumps, and chickenpox, and influenza, and everything they came with.
And that was when also at Battle of Bull Run, where they were also out there spectating, thinking it was going to go off in one big battle and jamming up the roads.
And the senators and all the rich ladies were out there in wagons, and when they turned to evacuate the wounded, that was the only battle that happened at. Because of that, the armies could not remove the wounded or even move because the spectators were so close.
Right.
So the women provided over 100,000 handmade quilts for wounded soldiers on both sides. They have numbers because organizations like the Sanitary Commission, who organized it, kept count. They also provided countless hospital shirts because just like today, when somebody gets taken back to the hospital off the battlefield, they don't have their gear, and they cut off their uniform, and now they have nothing to wear. So immediately they put out the call, and the women had more access to fabric in the North. Once the blockade was tightened, the South had the cotton, but they didn't have the manufacturing. They were only just starting at the start of the war to get some manufacturing because they realized it. So Southern women were asked to give up their sheets, their anything to make, and they also had to use those things to keep their children's dress. There was no new fabric available. They did have a lot of looms, like Grandma's loom and Grandma's spinning wheel, but the thread that comes out of the spinning wheel is not narrow enough for the sewing machines that they had at that time, so they couldn't sew them with the sewing machines, so what they made, they were back to making by hand. They were also put out of their homes. If you the Army came through, and it was one of two things. If it was your side, you were expected to do it because it was your patriotic duty. And if it was the other side, well, you were the enemy. Well, either way, the civilians lost. So the other option was some officers would say, okay, you and your kids can stay. I'll give you this room or this area, but you have to help. So I've been to a place in Tennessee where it was conscripted and there were over 200 wounded in the house. Their children were 7 and 9, and they were walking amongst the wounded, giving them water, taking dictated letters back home. Some of the boys could write, some of them couldn't. Most of them could read. But depending on how wounded they were, helping feed. So upstairs in the children's rooms where the best lighting was where the surgeons set up. And you can actually still see the stains. They could never get the stains out.
Yeah, that's Bentonville is like that. Bentonville, North Carolina, they got a house they took over and turned it into a hospital. And yeah.
You can't get that out. And the kids had to move back in and live in those rooms after. So we've been explaining to some of the kids that came through that were playing with guns, the children didn't really do that. They started to a little bit, but the moms kind of squashed it because the war was all around them, and they never did that before. That wasn't a thing so much for kids because guns were a tool.
Right.
So it wasn't something they thought of as a toy. You were taught from a very young age how to respect firearms, how to use them. 10, 11 years old, the boys will be out hunting. Now even the girls had to. If the family had no sons, then the daughters were taking on that role. So it was a very different thing. And then the war was all around them. So they knew the reality So it really wasn't a thing. They had a lot of homemade toys. They had a lot more freedom than we did. They would send their kids out. We'll see you later.
Right.
And sometimes our kids forget. When my son was 10, he was on the battlefield somewhere today. He's now a 25-year-old adult, but when he was 10, a bunch of us went to Gettysburg, and he was used to running free at these events. I couldn't find him for like 5 hours. He had taken the shuttle to the other camp, because Gettysburg is a huge event, so he could visit the Florida soldiers. And he didn't, but that was, the kids would have been out in the woods playing, but they had chores. So they had to get their work done, and then they could go play. And it was a lot of work. We did breakfast this morning. We started around 8, and the final dish wasn't washed till 11. And all we had was bacon and toasted leftover bread from the night before. So, do you have any questions for me?
No, ma'am. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, and hopefully we'll see you next year when we're dressed out.
Well, I'm hoping so.
This was a spur of the moment thing. We didn't
This really
realize it
was.
the day.
Yep.
He's like, when is that? I'm like, because I was born and raised in Lake Butler, so I was born and raised around here. And
Yeah, I'm
I've
from
never-
Mississippi.
And I've never been to it, honestly. I mean, I used to swim in Olustee, but I mean, we never came to the reenactment or anything.
It's the same. Yeah, Saturday's the better spectator
Yeah.
day and the better.
Well, the only one I've ever been to is Beauvoir, because I'm from Biloxi, so I grew up 2 miles from it. But that's not until the fall, so.
So most of the events are kept on the same schedule they had them. So you'll see a lot of your Florida events in the spring, in what is kind of winterish up north, because they could come down.
Yeah.
They
Right.
only came down here really for a couple skirmishes and this battle. This battle was to interrupt the railroad supply lines supplying the Confederacy with beef and vegetables, because our land was the only land that wasn't fought on. The only piece that was really, really fought on bad. So our soil and our crops were still able to be grown. Places like Antietam and Gettysburg, some of that soil was then able to be used for decades.
Yeah.
So we were lucky. We also had seafood, and we had the wilderness. We had more wilderness to forage from.
Well, ma'am, thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you
All
for
right.
coming.
Yep. Y'all have a good day.
You too.
Replica of the CSS Hunley out of the Olustee battlefield. Very good detail. Excuse me, sir.
And
Look how they wearing
see this guy?
This guy, they were sweethearts. She gave him this coin right here, and he wore it in his like pants pocket. Well, he got shot.
Is that the actual coin?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah. They told me that Friday. That's the actual coin.
That's
because
Lieutenant
they
Dixon's-
excavated it. They excavated it and they found him. And in his pocket was that coin. So it's true. It just made the whole story come together.
He was shot in the leg at Shiloh, and that coin took the impact of the bullet.
Yeah, and bent. And then I don't know where he died, but wherever he died.
He died inside the Hunley.
Oh, he did? Well, when they excavated it, they found that coin. That right there, that coin in his pocket.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what the man told me here Friday.
Yep.